Are you ready to branch out, to take a leap of faith, to love yourself and others fully? Then let go of whatever no longer serves you to take action now on Get Rooted Radio with Erica Gifford Mills, living it up, loving it up, and letting it go. Erica will energize and excite you to power up your passionate dream that sets your soul on fire. With Erica's E3 approach, equipping, empowering, and enlightening yourself so you can be yourself for yourself. Get ready and get rooted to live a life without regrets, without what ifs, without should haves, and especially without empty feelings from a life unexplored. This hit show helps you build powerful and intentional roots to live it up, love it up, and let it go. Get fearlessly ready and powerfully rooted in your yes with your host, Erica Gifford Mills, and be fearless about your more and stand in your yes. Now on Get Rooted Radio.
Welcome, everyone. I am Erica Gifford Mills, and you are listening to Get Rooted Radio. Living it up, loving it up, letting it go, right here on Transformation Talk Radio. A big shout out, as always, to my producer today, Nat. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Erica. Excited to be here. Happy 4th of July.
Yes, I know. Can you believe we are already over halfway through 2025? And I think this is why this is such a great time for this episode. Today is called Challenging Your Mind's Lies by Activating the 3 W's. Because our minds, there are superpowers, but often we fill them with lies that keep us stuck in fear, self-doubt, or inaction. And in today's empowering episode, my guest, Wytisha Williams, will unpack how to identify and challenge those internal lies by activating what she calls the 3 W's: want, willpower, and walking into your purpose. Listeners, you are in for a special treat because we're going to learn how to reframe those limiting beliefs, and we all have them at some point in our life or another, sometimes more often than not, and how to take practical steps towards the life that we truly are meant to live. But first, I want to give you a little bit more about my guest. Wytisha is a mental health counselor. She's born in Louisiana. She is the CEO of WLW Restoring and Healing Hearts, LLC. She's an award-winning author, a United States Army veteran. Thank you so much for your service. A transformational speaker and an advocate for change. She coined the word mind empowerment, which was inspired by the understanding that every challenge begins and ends with the mind. She goes into communities teaching individuals how to challenge those mind lies. So thank you so much for being with us today, Wytisha.
Thank you so much for having me, Queen Erica.
Oh, thank you so much. And, we met, was that just about 6 months ago? And yes. Loved you instantly.
Absolutely.
Your energy, your enthusiasm for this kind of work it was really inspiring to me. During this first segment, we're going to talk about mind lies. But before we jump into that, you have a very diverse background, and you've known defeat and adversity. Without giving out our other segments away too much, how have you applied the 3 W's, want, willpower, and walking into your purpose, to overcome your adversities? And how are you promoting others, especially our younger generation, to do the same?
Wow, great question. Well, first of all, it started off in my life because of where I was born and the environment that I was born in. I was born in a very impoverished family, neighborhood, into a bunch of dysfunction and trauma. And throughout my childhood, I was labeled and was always told that I would be a statistic. I would never become anything. I would be in the system, and pretty much a lost cause. So that's where the 3 W's came from, my life. And teaching people how to tap into their superpower, because I tell people all the time that their number one superpower is their mind. And so how do you incorporate the 3 W's? You have to want to overcome and to defeat your circumstances, the labels that has been placed on you. You have to apply the willpower, which is the second W. And then once you're able to incorporate those two nuggets and those two jewels, you're able to walk into the third W, which is walking into your purpose and fulfilling your assignment. So it most definitely was applied wholeheartedly throughout my life, because I wanted to overcome poverty and the labels that were placed on me as a child.
Yes. And, and we all have some sort of label placed on us, right?
Absolutely.
At some point in time. And I think if you don't want it to be that way, you have to want and take action to overcome it. So let's really get back to that our first segment topic, which is mind lies. So what are mind lies and how do they show up in our everyday thinking?
Mind lies are actually it's self-explanatory. It's actually what it says. It is a mind lie. It is a lie, a distorted thinking. It is a false belief or false narrative that you have that basically formulates the way that you view life. It controls your thoughts, control your emotions, they control your behavior, and they control the way that you view life in a negative way. So it impacts your life in a very negative manner, because they're pretty much lies that, thoughts that's distorted. So yeah.
Those limiting beliefs, the negative self-talk. If we have to, we remember thoughts become things. So I know people sometimes laugh at, positive thinking isn't going to change. Well, everything. Well, you know what? It may not change everything, but it changes your outlook. And just like if you constantly have that negativity, those negative thoughts, that self-doubt, the limiting beliefs, you're going to start believing that. So those thoughts become things. They become the positive, they can become the negative. And I laugh because sometimes I say, would you talk to your best friend? Would you talk to your spouse? Would you talk to your kid the way you're talking to yourself?
Absolutely.
And even the thoughts, that's talking. And they can show up, they can creep in. I get them. And people are like, really? I'm like, yeah, we all do. We start second guessing ourselves. Like,
absolutely.
But I'm not good enough. I did it this morning. I ran to the mall because I wanted to find something. And I'm like, I tried on this outfit, super cute, but I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I can pull this off.
Right.
And the attendant said, why can't you pull it off? I think it looks awesome on you. I don't know you. And I'm thinking, she goes, and I'm not trying to sell it. I tell you if it looks good on you.
Right.
And it's because I had an image, a mind, something in me that said, I can't pull that off. So therefore it's not me.
Right.
And it's even something, that's a very simple example, but it's those little things that creep in every day, every moment that we have to decide. Do we like it? Great, then wear it.
That's right.
Want to do it? Go after it. And if we can overcome the mind lies, that's the first step in becoming successful in whatever that success is that you're chasing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So when it shows up in those everyday thinking, and if we're gonna get into it a little bit later, which I think we will, don't give it away quite yet. But what is something that we can do when we start getting those little creeping lies into our mind?
The first thing I tend to tell individuals that I instruct, I guide, I counsel is you have to first and foremost be aware. You have to be aware. You have to acknowledge that you are even, verbalizing the mind lies. You have to acknowledge that you're telling yourself these things, because honestly, some people subconsciously do it and they're very unaware that they are talking negatively to themselves. So you have to become more aware that, I am distorting. Prime example, like you said, with the clothing, I don't look good in the clothing. And it starts off just there. Like, so I tell people, when you become aware that you're distorting, or you're in a negative place, or you're having negative thoughts, right? What is the evidence? This is the challenge. This is the antidote to the mind lies. You have to be able to challenge those mind lies. Okay, so what is the evidence? What is the evidence that you don't look good in a dress? Like, what is the evidence that you're unworthy, or you're not worthy? What is the evidence that things won't get better? Or what is the evidence that this is the worst day of your life? And sometimes, I tell people the most common distortions that we have starts off with the catastrophizing, or the all or nothing thinking, and then we have the mind reading. So those are some distortions that we have. But that all or nothing thinking goes from, okay, I'm used to making A's on my test all the time. So if I make one C, when I make that C on my test, I'm a failure. So then I tend to tell people, okay, well, let's process it. Let's go back and check the evidence. Okay, you made a C for the first time on your test, but black and white evidence in the past, how has your grades looked? How have your grades been? Well, I've made all A's. This is my first time making a C. So what evidence do you have that proves that you're a failure?
Exactly. Yep. And I love that. So when you get those mind lies creeping in, go back and says, what is the evidence?
What is the evidence?
And I love that. So let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about that first W, want. But before we go, Wytisha, tell folks how they can connect with you.
They can find me on Facebook. That's under WLW Restoring Healing Hearts. They could find me on TikTok. That's Queen Wytisha. YouTube, Queen Wytisha. Instagram, Queen Wytisha. And LinkedIn, Wytisha Merrill.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. You are listening to Get Rooted Radio with Erica Gifford Mills. Living it up, loving it up, letting it go. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Get Rooted Radio with Erica Gifford Mills. Living it up, loving it up, letting it go. If you missed any portion of today's episode, you can catch it on getrootedradio.com. That's getrootedradio.com. Don't forget to subscribe online to receive the latest news, events, specials, and words of encouragement. Go to getrootedradio.com. Welcome back to my guest, Wytisha Williams. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
So during the last segment, we discussed the mind's lies and how we need to make sure we're finding proof. Are they really lies, or is that just that negative self-talk and limiting beliefs trying to stop you? And during this segment, we're going to discuss that first W, which is want. So let's just dive right in. Want. Why is getting clear on what we truly want so powerful?
It's very powerful because you have to start off with knowing what you want. Knowing what you want, that's the first step to building your blueprint, right? It's the first step of knowing, from transitioning you from a meaningless life to a meaningful life. What is it that you want? What is the reason for your existence? And I know I recall this very, very profound quote. It's the two most important days in your life is when you were born and when you find out why. Right. So in the want stage, you find out your purpose. Well, you're seeking your purpose, but you're asking yourself, what is it that I want? What am I here for? And when you're in that stage of the wanting, you're building that blueprint. You're taking those stones that's been thrown and you're building the guide to get you to where you want to be in life, or whatever goal it is that you're trying to achieve. So the want is the most important thing, finding out what you want, because if you don't know what you want, you're going to procrastinate. You're going to get distracted a lot. You're going to waste time, and you're going to put effort and time and spend resources on things that are meaningless because you don't know what you want. So the want is the most important thing.
Yeah, and I'm giggling over here a little bit because this reminds me of two things. The first
Mhm.
is oh gosh, the movie. Now I'm just gonna draw a blank at the movie's name. It's I see Ryan Reynolds, or maybe it's not Ryan Reynolds, but I see the two actors, and he's yelling at her, "What do you want? What do you
Mm.
want?"
Right.
And The Notebook. That's what it is, The Notebook. And then I also think, so I'm laughing because that is probably every person's like, we can't help you if you don't know what you want. And then the
Absolutely.
second is the time it was similar to yours, not your quote, but it was you have two dates. Your date you were born, your date you died. It's that
Hmm.
time in between. It's make the dashes count.
That's it.
And I think that is also so important on what are you doing in your life that is going to matter. And
Absolutely.
it matter not to other people, but to you. What is it there's so many people who talk about years after they've died, after they've gone away. But it's that, what are you doing in between that time that's going to leave a legacy that you can be proud of? Not that others can be proud of, that you can be proud of after you're gone.
That's
And
right.
if you don't know, I mean, think about, what are your values? What are your beliefs? And where do you want to what do you want to be remembered as?
That's
And
right.
sometimes that's where we find, what are the things that bring you fulfillment? What are the things that bring you joy? What are the things that you can't go a day without doing? Now look at
Right.
those, combine all those, and do something with them. And so that
Hmm.
W, as you say, that want, it is profoundly important because that's what's going to set the stage for you to take the action to make it happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what would you say to folks? Like, what if somebody says, you know what? There's a lot of things I want to do, but I just don't
Hmm.
know what or how. What would you suggest to them to say, how do I get to that W?
That's a great question. And I typically encourage people to go off of their strengths. So when I say strengths, I mean, like, what is it that when throughout your life, your childhood, maybe your young adulthood, and even now, currently, what is it that people are constantly complimenting you about, telling you? Like, for example, if you are a young lady that likes to put on makeup, and then if you go back and you think over your life, you've always liked putting on makeup. You've always liked wearing makeup. You've always liked playing makeup, right? And people have always complimented you on that. So you think about your strengths. If you were a person that was in school that was very strong at speaking in public, or speaking in class, or giving public speeches, right? That's a strength of yours.
Yeah.
So most of the time in life, people tend to give us compliments, or we tend to step on a stage and when I say stage, it could be, like I say, performing great in sports. It could be performing, being academically inclined. We feel this fire, this passion that burns inside of us, and we get like this natural sense of confidence within ourselves. So you have to look at your life and say, what are my strengths? What do I actually thrive in? What do I get energy out of doing? Like, what gives me that second wind, gives me that enjoyment, second nature, like something that I enjoy doing without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
So you start there with that, and that will give you pretty much like the blueprint. This is what I want. Like, this is what I need to go after, because this is the area that I thrive in. This is where I'm most strongest in, and
Yeah.
this is where I receive my compliments.
Yeah.
So
And I love that because you need to have that passion, right? I always say,
right.
not just find your passion, but it's
Hmm.
find your passion and purpose. So it's find your passion on purpose.
That's
And
it.
you need to, because if you are always out there doing something for somebody else,
Mm-hmm.
Are you really enjoying your life? Are you bringing
Right.
joy? And that shows up in the end product.
Mm-hmm.
When I always tell people, like, if you have to go out there and do a speaking engagement, do something that resonates with you. Because if you
Right.
choose a topic you think somebody wants to hear and it's not something that's going to resonate with you, that's going to
Mhm.
come through because it's not going to be authentic to you. It's not going to
That's right.
be something that is meaningful to you. And the
Right.
output, right? The
Mhm.
end product, whatever that is, a presentation, an actual deliverable of some sort, will show because you weren't into it. You weren't
Right.
there with your full self doing it. And I think that that's very important because people can tell when you're just, I'm not feeling it today. And
Right.
honestly, and a little off topic, but I've done that when I've walked into a room, whether it's a networking event or whatever. And if I'm not feeling that vibe, sometimes I might just leave. I mean, if I made a commitment, of course I won't.
Mhm.
If it's just a networking event, I was going to go to a lunch, meet new people. But if I wasn't feeling it, I'm not a good small talker person.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're going to feel my energy. They're going to feel how I'm like, I'm here. And that's not the
Mhm.
impression I want to give off. So I feel like
Absolutely.
that W is going to be the same way. What
That's
is that
right.
font? And take
Hmm.
your time to find it. You don't
Absolutely.
have to know right like this.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else that you would recommend for listeners with the W, with our first W?
Well, I would like to just piggyback off what you said as far as the won't. I had a young lady that I was talking to a few weeks ago, and she was telling me, "Well, I've changed careers 3 times in my life, and she's a young lady." And I told her exactly what you just said. I said, "What are you in a rush for?" I mean, we don't know when our expiration date is, and I get that. But right now, all you have is time. So, right now, if you have a passion to do this, if you have a passion to pursue that in school and that doesn't go well, then recap, regroup, but all you have is time. So, don't get in a rush to figure it out, just on the way going through it. I tend to tell people and encourage people, try to find the love in it. Find the love in it. And like you said, most definitely feel the passion. Have the passion and have the love, but don't be so much in a rush because all we have is time. And then you
Yes.
commit, you commit to something that you really don't like or you really don't want, then you'll find yourself living a life full of regrets. You
Yeah.
know,
And we don't want that.
right.
Yeah, we what we really want to do is ensure that we're not only making those dashes count,
That's
but
right.
because like you said, life is not a dress rehearsal. We have to
Hmm.
make those dashes count.
That's right.
Yeah, so let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to go into that second W, and that is willpower. But before we go, tell folks how they can connect with you. And you also have a little something for our listeners.
Absolutely. So again, you guys could connect with me on LinkedIn, Facebook, which is WLW Restoring Healing Hearts. I'm sorry, LinkedIn is Wytisha Merrill. Facebook is WLW Restoring Healing Hearts. YouTube, Instagram, and I think YouTube and Instagram is just Queen Wytisha. So you can find me on any platform under Queen Wytisha Mind Empowerment. And for my listeners, my first 5 listeners that inbox me Mind Empowerment, I will be giving out a free book, which was my first book, He Wouldn't Let Me Die, which is based on trials, triumph, and tribulation. And so it's a great book to help you, your starting point with getting over the mind lies. And then I also will be including a mind empowerment bracelet. And I will also be including my new book, which is a children's book that's named All Kids Can Fly.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm Erica Gifford Mills, and you are listening to Get Rooted Radio, living it up, loving it up, letting it go. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. We're back on Get Rooted Radio with Erica Gifford Mills, living it up, loving it up, letting it go. Don't forget to visit getrootedradio.com to listen to a replay of this episode, sign up for helpful tips, learn about upcoming events, and learn about my newest book collaboration, Live, Love, and Lead Like a Woman, a trilogy. That's getrootedradio.com. Welcome back to my guest, Wytisha. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me, Queen Erica.
So during the last segments, we have talked about the mind's lies and the first W of the three W's, want. And during this segment, we're going to talk about the second, which is willpower. So how does willpower, let me go back. So we talked about want, like we have to know what we want
Absolutely.
to keep going forward. But how does that second W, willpower, help challenge those mind's lies?
Willpower is very, very important. Willpower is going to be the W that gets you up the hill. So I came up with a quote that says, it's important in life for your only choice to choose that you have a choice. So your only choice should be to choose that you always have a choice. And how do you do that?
Yes.
With your willpower. You have to make up in your mind that you have a choice to overcome your obstacles, the hardships, and the things that you are going through in life. So when we talk about willpower pretty much it challenges the mind lies by exposing the false narratives in your brain, which produces that ability to get comfortable and get stagnated or just being average. So I give this example, right? Say you're running on a track, you're running around on a track, and you're jogging on a track, and you feel like your body feels like it's getting exhausted, right? You're getting tired. Okay, and then so all of a sudden you're like, okay, I ran a few laps and I'm tired. I'm done. I can't go no more, right? But when you run off the track, you get in the car, you're able to get on the phone and you're able to talk for 30 minutes. You're able to go into the grocery store. You're able to make groceries. You're able to get home and do all of these different types of things, these different type of tasks. So that means that you have not tapped into your willpower, because when your mind told you that you were tired and you were done, you stopped. Willpower is like that second wind that you have inside of you that makes you go to the full max. Coming off that track, the willpower is you're weak in the knees, you're vomiting, you can go no more. So that willpower is, you have to have it to overcome your obstacles, overcome your challenges. You have to have the discipline. On the days that other people say, hey, I'm just going to chill out and relax, you have to be the one that says, I'm going to study because I want to ace this test, or I want that promotion, so I'm going to stay up all night and make sure that all of my ducks are in a row. My I's are dotted and my T's are crossed, right? Yeah. So that willpower is that will to overcome and to go the extra mile, for accomplishing that goal or that assignment or that purpose that you have out there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and if you think about the very definition of willpower, right, it involves the ability to exert self-control over your own behaviors to carry out or to reach your goals and intentions. Right. And so you have to have that willpower to resist temptation.
That's
whatever that temptation is, right? To stop or to go off track. And I think, so I know that there's some research that suggests it can play a role in your success in life, but it is also a limited resource that can become depleted if we aren't constantly working to delay that instant gratification. Right. And I think that's why we have sometimes, and I'm trying not to generalize this because I don't want, some of my younger listeners to be like, excuse me, but we are very much with the invention of the internet, with text, we are very much getting into a instant gratification society. You used to have to wait for something. Well, now things are online. You can just go out there and get something. People will text you right back sometimes. But we have to work on that delayed gratification.
Absolutely.
And understand that not everything's going to be like this.
Absolutely.
In a world where we've created that based on advancements. So we need to make sure that we are taking various steps to learn how to boost that willpower.
Absolutely.
Whether that is taking time, because we want to make sure that it doesn't turn into an ego depletion. Because
absolutely,
just like a car, just like a cell phone, you use it a lot. You have to plug it in to recharge. You have to put gas in your car, or you have an electric car, you got to plug in your car, right?
Right.
You have to do that. Just like with us as humans, we need to make sure that we are not depleting from overuse.
Right.
So using that willpower, I mean, I would completely agree with you that willpower can equal more success if we can work on it right? We want to make sure that we because people who do have more willpower, it has been seen to have higher self-esteem, which if you have higher self-esteem, you're going to do better on things because you're going to have that positive self-talk. You're going to believe in yourself. You're going to love yourself. So you're going to have improved and better results.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I love that. So I think that, you were definitely spot on when you're saying, the 3 W's, how do we do that? And it's the first one is that want. The second one is that willpower. So do you have suggestions for our listeners on how to improve the willpower? Or if you think you have none, certain things for me, if somebody puts something down in front of me, I might not have the willpower to resist it. Or like somebody says, oh, you want to go to the gym? Or do you want to go sit outside and have a margarita? How do you suggest somebody builds on their willpower?
I think it comes with practice and it comes with discipline. I can say for my life, my go-to is I wanted to not be, like I said, what I was labeled. My willpower came from, wanting to not live an impoverished life or be a part of the statistics, so I had this drive to show people that the impossible was the possible for a person that was given this label. So it came with that discipline. It came with practicing. It came with, like you say, the delayed gratification of putting aside the things that I could enjoy versus, putting attention and effort towards the things that I knew would make me better. So at the end of the day, it goes back to that first W. You have to want it. You have to want it enough to follow up with the willpower. And that's, putting aside the excuses, building on, the discipline, and implementing that willpower.
Yeah.
So you have to want it. You have to want it enough for sure.
Well, and I think that's the big thing is it goes back to that first W.
Yep.
Is it something, and I also talk about doing SMART goals, and I don't mean just SMART as in the measurable, time bound, right? In the business definition of a SMART goal. But when I always tell people, make your goals SMART, is it something special to you? Is it something that is going to be memorable to you? Is it something that is authentic to you? Is it something that is not just reasonable, but is it something that's going to be rememberable for you?
Right.
And also the T, is it true to you? It gets back to that W, that want. Because if you don't want it bad enough, you're not going to deplete that willpower to go forward.
That's right.
Yeah. So
that's right.
So now we've talked about the first 2 W's, and we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to finish out the show with the final W, the walking into your purpose. Before we go, tell folks how they can connect with you and what that little special something you have. And you have an upcoming event as well, correct?
Absolutely. All righty. So once again, you can find me on LinkedIn. That's under Wytisha Merrill. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube under Queen Wytisha. And as far as Facebook, WLW Restored and Healing Hearts. And the prize and the treat that I have for my listeners, the first 5 listeners to inbox me on Instagram with the word mind empowerment, I'll be giving away my first book, He Wouldn't Let Me Die, that teaches you how to overcome your mind lies and your traumas and your trials. And then I'll be giving away a mind empowerment bracelet. And included in that will also be my new book, which is a children's book that's titled All Kids Can Fly. So that's the treat for the listeners.
Thank you so much. This is Get Rooted Radio with Erica Gifford Mills. Living it up, loving it up, letting it go. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Get Rooted Radio with Erica Gifford Mills. Living it up, loving it up, letting it go. If you missed any of the information during the last segments, go to getrootedradio.com to listen to a replay. Don't forget to subscribe, sign up for tips and special events and pricing for upcoming sessions at getrootedradio.com. Welcome back to my guest, Wytisha. Thank you so much for being on the show with me today.
And thank you so much for having me, Queen Erica. It is an honor.
Well, so during the last few segments, we discussed the mind's lies and the first 2 W's of the 3 W's, want and willpower. Now, during this last segment, we're going to talk about walking into your purpose. So what does it actually mean to walk into your purpose versus just talking about it?
Absolutely. So just as you said, walking into your purpose is being in that seat, being on that platform, being in a position. It is the difference of having an ideal and the performance. Prime example, if you know that you wanted to be a public speaker, you put forth that willpower by practicing every day, posting videos, securing events, right? That's the willpower. When you could have done everything else, you decided to focus in and have an hawk eye and eagle eye on that goal. And so once you know what you want now, you've implemented the willpower. Now you're walking into your purpose. And how do you know you're actually in the seat? You're in the position. You say, okay, my goal is I want to be a public speaker and I want to speak, to thousands. Well, now you may not be speaking to thousands, but you're surely speaking to hundreds, or you're booking events on a regular basis, right? So you're walking into your purpose and you're confident in it. So that's that space where you either have ideal is, okay, these are my ideals, these are my thoughts, but performance is actually walking into your purpose, your assignment, your calling, and you feel confident. You again, like we talked about, knowing what you want, you now are walking in, you're in that position, you have that seat, you're confident in doing what you've been called to do. You do it so profound and so proficiently that you know that this is what you've been called to do. So you walk into it, you just know it. It capitalizes who you are. It capitalizes on your strengths. And you just know because of the confidence and how it suits you.
Well, and I think it's not just talking the talk, it's walking the walk.
It's walking. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's putting action to your words.
Absolutely.
And I think that is so important, because there's so many times we talk about things and we talk about, I want to.
Mm-hmm.
I won't say all of what my father used to say. He used to say, want in one hand and wish in the other, and see which one, want in one hand and wish in the other, see which one fills up first, or actually take action.
That's it.
And your hands will be overflowing.
That's right.
He used to say a little, something, maybe not as friendly. Maybe there used to be some swear words in there.
Yeah.
So I won't say that on the radio, but it's true, right? We can talk about it all we want, but if you don't take action, if you don't walk into that purpose, right?
That's it.
Find your passion on purpose. And that's what you need to do. Like I said earlier, make those dashes count. You live in a life. If we're living it, let's not just live it. Let's experience it. And through finding our passion, through using your 3 W's, again, the want, the willpower, and walking into your purpose, you're going to find wonderful things in your future.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So what can we do, right, to help us? So listeners, you've already done the W. You figured out that hard part. Now you're working on the willpower. But now you got to walk in that purpose. What can listeners do to be walking into their purpose? What is one of the things that you would tell your clients that you need to do in order to get over those mind lies, to stop that negative self-talk, to overcome those limiting beliefs, to be able to walk with your head held high and that pride going forward?
I think the most important thing is to write it down. For a lot of people, as you're saying, those ideals will get you sometimes so flustered and so overwhelmed because, again, you're thinking about these are the things that I want to do. It's so many things that we want to do in life, but we have to start somewhere. And that's why I say you have to make sure, find your strengths, find what you want. Then when you find it, you acknowledge the mind lies, you acknowledge the things that are holding you back. Then you combat that with the evidence. Okay. So then you get there and then you take a notebook and you write it down. You write down, okay, what is my blueprint? This is what I want. I want to be a public speaker. I want to be an athlete. I want to own, I want to be a CEO. Okay, now we need to write it down because things don't get real until we see it. We can think it all day, but until we write it down and we see it, that's when it gets real. And that's something that we learned in the military. You can do a job all day, but if you never document it, it never happened. Yes. So, right. So writing down your goals, creating a blueprint. And once you write it down, take it one step at a time. Okay, this is what I need to do to get here. Make a blueprint, make a plan, and then you just start chipping away at it. Once you start chipping away at it, then you're also in the process of pursuing it. You will be able to chip away those mind lies because then you can go back and say, this was my goal. This was my number one. This was my number two. This was my number three. And I was able to accomplish this. And I was able to accomplish that. So if you ever get to a place in your life where you're stagnated or you begin to feel self-doubt, because like I tell people, when we go back to the mind lies, emotions are valid, but they're not facts. Self-doubt is most definitely an emotion, but you have to ask yourself, what is the facts that's supporting this doubt? And so when you look back at goal number 1 and goal number 2, and you're like, okay, I accomplished this step. And then you get to 3, right? And you get a little hesitant about going to the next step because some people get afraid of success. They're like, oh my God, like what's going to happen when I get up to the top? And then that's when you have that notebook, you have the written blueprint, and you can go back and say, well, if I accomplish number 1 and accomplish number 2 and I accomplish number 3, then I know that I can do number 4. That's how you challenge the mind lies. That's how you go back to knowing this is what I want. This is how you go back to check your willpower. And then for sure you can walk into your purpose.
I love that. And don't try to boil the ocean, right? And make sure you're not going to go from A to Z. You need to make sure that you are taking those steps. And guess what? You might go A, B, C, D, and then E kind of breaks up. You might have to go back and repeat it. And that's okay. You have time. As you said to one of your clients, don't be in such a hurry. You'll get there. Just, be patient, believe in yourself, and make sure that you're following through.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's wonderful. So thank you again for being on the show today. Let's tell listeners just one last time where they can connect with you and how they can get that free gift that you have for them.
All right. Sounds great. So once again, LinkedIn, you can find me on the Wytisha Merrill, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. I'm under Queen Wytisha, Queen Wytisha. And on Facebook, you can find me on the WLW, Restoring Healing Hearts. And for my free gift, to my first 5 listeners that inbox me on Instagram, I plan on you're going to receive a free book, He Wouldn't Let Me Die. You will receive a mind empowerment bracelet. You will also receive a free children's book, my new project that I just released, All Kids Can Fly.
Thank
And
you
if you,
so much.
you are so welcome.
So, and I want to thank you all for tuning in to Get Rooted Radio. If you missed any part of today's episode or want to listen again, which I think you should, go to getrootedradio.com for the podcast, or anywhere where the podcasts you listen to, Google Play, iTunes, Spotify. But most importantly, don't forget to tune in the first and third Tuesday of each month at 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central, and 2 p.m. Pacific, right here on Transformation Talk Radio. Before I sign off, ask yourself if you are living a rooted life with appropriate boundaries and going after those goals. And if you're not, set up your free Empower Hour call with me. No charge, no obligations. Go to getrootedradio.com to find out how I can help you take action now. And if you're ready to live, love, and let go, then my award-winning book and companion workbook, The Rooted Life, Live, Love, Let Go, is for you. And it is also a finalist for the 2025 Author of the Year in Hollywood. So check out the bundle deal at getrootedradio.com under the books section, and keep your eyes open for 2 new books coming out, Rooted Leadership and The Impact Leaders. I'm also calling for you powerful women to be a co-author in the Like a Woman trilogy. It's a bold collaboration celebrating real stories of resilience, leadership, and unapologetic power. Your story deserves to be in these books. I'm looking for 75 fierce women who are ready to rise, speak up, and lead, live, and love out loud. These aren't just books. It's a movement, a sisterhood, a legacy. So go to balancesymmetry.com or getrootedradio.com. It will redirect you and apply online to join me. And one last personal message. If you are hurting or need help, please know the world needs you in it, and it is a better place with you in it. Don't let the hard days win. Reach out for assistance. Call or text the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Or text HOME, HOME, to 741-741 to reach a trained crisis counselor through the Crisis Text Line, a global not-for-profit organization, also available free 24/7. Thank you for tuning in. Have an amazing day. Know that you are loved, and I'm looking forward to the next time on Get Rooted Radio with Erica Gifford Mills. Living it up, loving it up, letting it go. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you for listening to Get Rooted Radio with Erica Gifford Mills, living it up, loving it up, and letting it go. Visit getrootedradio.com if you've missed any part of this hit show, and tune in on transformationtalkradio.com to live fearlessly in your more and powerfully rooted in your unlimited yes. For more information and to work with Erica directly, visit getrootedradio.com. That's getrootedradio.com, and get ready to live it up, love it up, and let it go.